So today we'll be talking about improving our buy reports UI using icons and custom background with and the session today will be taken by Mr. Fati. He's also an MCT certified trainer.
Mm.
Right. So
If
the
I have
yes,
murdered two things, is Mr.
whether
Fatai Sanni,
Mr.
and
Fighter,
I don't
uh,
know when you made him FCT is MCT.
M- MCT, yes.
All right, no, I just
Yes.
wanted to shift that.
Okay, so Mr. Fighter. Okay, so the Power BI learning community is being powered by UrBizEdge and is also sponsored by Enterprise DNA. So UrBizEdge is Enterprise DNA. They mostly do it for Power BI, and the goal is to empower as much users in Power BI so they can use it to change the world. So at the moment, Enterprise DNA is having their sixth anniversary and currently like giving out they have a new course on Python for Power BI users. Then your BizEdge is a registered Microsoft consulting, financial modeling, business intelligence, and data analysis firm. And they offer trainings and help build enterprise tools for industries. So these are the schedule for the upcoming training this November. So today we'll talk about our speaker. So Mr. Fatai is a Microsoft certified trainer. He's also a Microsoft certified data analyst, and he has experience helping business make data-driven decisions. He's also a mentor, a coach, and a community advocate. And he's also the facilitator of Unleash the Power in Power Query. So, hi, Mr. Fatai. You can start.
Fine. Thank you very
Yes.
much for
Uh,
having me.
sorry about the name.
No, that is fine. All right. Good evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on what part of the world we are. I'll be sharing my screen right now, and please do let me know when you can see my screen. I don't know if it's audible, if it's visible now. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you very much. So, once again, good evening, everybody. My name is Sanni Fatai, as I finally rightly introduced. And today I'll be talking about how to improve our business intelligence report UI with icons and custom backgrounds. I want to believe that most of these concepts, they are not new concepts to.
I'm sorry, just to say, I think I don't know what's different. So before, your voice was very clear and all, but now it seems like there's a like a is it static they call it, like maybe connection.
Is
I
it
was
better
trying.
now?
Let me
No,
mute
there's still
everybody else
static.
so that I will check. So I will mute
I think
everybody
so.
else so that yeah. I've been trying to see who is coming from. So just keep on talking. I will let you know if it's still there. I will mute myself, mute everybody.
All right. Thank you for that, Michael. So I was just talking about how we how the concept of building business intelligence report, how although it's not a new concept, but there's some things that maybe as we go on or as we try to build one report or the other, there are also learnings that we can pick. Also, there are common mistakes that people make that I've seen across maybe so many of the reports and dashboard that I've seen. And I just thought it wise to let's talk about this today and also tend to share and exchange knowledge regarding this. So, Michael, I want to confirm if my voice is better now or the audio is better now.
It's clear we hear
Better,
you.
but there's
It's
still that
slightly
static.
better, but that yeah, it's still there.
Okay. Let me take out my hands free. Is this any better?
Okay, continue
Good.
talking. Let's
Okay.
see.
All right then. Okay, so
This is
let's
better.
okay, let's just get right into it then. Okay.
This is
So
better.
I'll
Thank
just
you.
do away with the hands free then. Okay, thank you. So now, I want to believe everyone on this call, I want us to remember the very first report we created on maybe Power BI, on W, or any of all these business intelligence tools. I want to just cast our mind back to what our very first, will I say, dashboard looks like. So, I mean, if you're someone like me, I want to believe possibly maybe your reports look something like this. And that is because we know the first time we get introduced to the old drag and drop GUI interface with the Power BI and other business intelligence tools introduced, because we are so it's so easy to just drag and drop visuals on the canvas. We tend to just load it with as much information as we can, try on different colors, try on different background, just get it funky and get it will I say beautiful. So at that point, making the report beautiful, I think comes top of mind. And you'd remember that maybe when people start learning Power BI and they are able to drag maybe their first few visuals on the canvas. I mean, there's this feeling that just gets you on top of the world that, wow, I did this, right? And I mean, it looks beautiful in our eyes then. But as time goes on, as we start maybe building more reports, as we start getting into the core of making real business BI reports, we tend to understand that some of these, there are some best practices that we need to follow. So today I'll be focusing mainly on the user interface. Of course, I have to say that I'm not an expert. I'm not a UI UX expert. These are just some of the common mistakes that I've seen and how to improve it. So I'll run through a quick presentation, and then I'll just quickly do a demo whereby we tend to move this current report to maybe something like this, right? So I don't know if we are excited. If you are excited, please let's just drop maybe the like button or something. Let's just drop like on the screen, or maybe just say that we're excited to move from this kind of report to something like this, right? Now, how do we get started, or how do we do something like this? So if you're starting out, you want to understand where do you even start from? If you want to create a report or you want to create a dashboard, I'm sorry, I'll be making one blunder, maybe not a blunder, but all through this call, I'll be using dashboard and reports interchangeably. I would like to believe they are more or less the same thing, but I think Microsoft has its own way of saying maybe a dashboard is different from a report. Maybe I agree, maybe I don't. I don't want to start that argument, but I'll be using dashboard and reports interchangeably. So where do we start from? If we want to create a report that is easy to read, that everybody understand, and that pass a strong message, right? Where do we start from exactly? And I would like to believe that the very first thing to start with is to understand the needs of the users. Who are the people that are going to be consuming this report, right? Are they C-level executives? Are they people in the operations department? Are they people that are on the field? And so on and so forth, because the consumer depends or determines how our report is going to be. If you are designing a report, for instance, for maybe high-level executives, you want to make the report as condensed as possible. You want to go straight to the point. You don't want to give in too many detail because they're not interested in drilling down to see the most will I say minute detail of that report. They just want to see things on a high level, have a broad understanding of business performance and all of that. It's different from if you're trying to create a report for maybe operations, people in the operations, or people in manufacturing, or even people that are on the field. So you want to put into consideration, is this report going to be consumed on mobile? Is this report going to be consumed on desktop? And so on and so forth, right? Those are some of the things that we need to keep at the back of our mind when we are creating our report or our dashboard. The second thing I would like to talk about is a great design start with a sketch. Please don't mind my ugly drawing. So this is a drawing that I just made on paper, and I always like to advise people that before you start doing anything, before you drag your first visual to the canvas, right, try to have a sketch, right? Try to put together a plan. because in the real sense or in the real world of it, I understand that maybe most people, because we are trying to learn maybe data analysis online or business intelligence, right? We are the one creating the problem, the problem statement ourselves. We are the one creating the visual. We are the one trying to answer the question all at once. In an ideal setting or in a typical company or organization, right? You are not just going to be the one to come up and say you want to see your revenue, you want to see the sales, you want to see the orders, you want to see this. I mean, there has to be, there's some, maybe the project management team or a business analyst would have already scoped that, or even if not at that, your manager already tells you that this is what he wants. So it's easier that way. Right. So before you proceed, I always say that try to have a sketch, try to have a sketch of what you want to do. And you really, maybe along the line, you might also try to modify as you go along. But it's always good to have something to start with, right? Because that really helps a lot. So as you can see from my ugly sketch right there, I know my logo is going to be on the right. I have maybe filters on the left. I have maybe 2 or 3 visuals, and I want to show a trend. And then I have maybe icon on the right or something. It may be on paper. It may be on a whiteboard. It may be even on Figma, on PowerPoint. Just try to have like a sketch so that you know from the start that this is what it is that you're doing, right? Now, the second thing I always tell people to keep in mind before creating their report is to understand that how do users really read this report? How do people consume our report? How do they understand it? And I always say that the best of dashboard or the best of reports should provide all the relevant information to the user in 5 seconds. So there is this Z pattern that people, especially in the West, try to read reports. So they start from the top left, right? Reading from the left to the right, then down left, then down to the right, right? So this is how people typically read, especially people from the West. I mean, of course, unless you're designing for maybe people in the Middle East or people that possibly read from right to left, right? So if you are designing your report or you are designing your dashboard, you want to keep your most important information on the top left, followed by the top right. Then you want to also follow that with what you have on your bottom left, and the least important information to always be at the bottom right of your screen. That way, if the first time someone lands on your report on your dashboard, their eye just goes straight to the top left. So they want to capture the most important information, or they want to answer the most important question within that 5 seconds. So always try to put that information right there. All right. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is, as data analyst or as BI analyst or as data scientist, we always have to solve problems. We don't create them. And how do we create a problem with our report or our dashboard, right? Is where we put in so many elements, so many colors. There is no storytelling. There is no action. We're just, doing this just to get funky and all, right? And so, because if you look at the current visual I have on my report right now, it doesn't follow all the best practices. Like you can see, there are different colors that you really can't say what is what. Again, you can't tell, is our sales going up or is our sales going down? You can't tell what is the action. So a manager is looking at this report right now. What is the action that this person is supposed to perform, right? What action is going to take? What is going well? What is not going well? Someone cannot outrightly get that information from here. And then the colors are merge, and then they are quite confusing, right? And you see this in most of the, I'm sorry to say, you see a lot of people join challenges today, and you see them post on LinkedIn, and they are trying to do too much. They're trying, because, of course, the aim of that is to maybe possibly win at that challenge. So they are infusing so many elements, so many colors, so many stuff that you really cannot follow. It's looking more like an infograph than a report that someone, maybe a business person, is going to consume. So we always want to be mindful of this, right? And a very good way of reducing report complexity is to maybe use drill throughs and tool tips. And what do I mean by this? So you have what I call it level 0, where you have maybe the most important element or the most the information you want to capture. on a high level, right? And then you have a functionality whereby you're able to drill through to the other elements or the other level in that report. And also maybe you still want to see a granular detail, you're also still able to drill through from that level to a third level, right? This way you're able to manage information, you're able to manage the user interface, you're able to even give a very good experience. I mean, of course, maybe someone would want to say that this is even bordering on UX, all right, but these are some of the things that people need to be conscious of. And I also want to say something, right? Having a beautiful report or having a report that is clean in itself doesn't do the job. Of course, your analysis has to be great. The insight you're trying to give has to be great, right? But what is the benefit of all the insight, the benefit of the great work that you have done if you are going to mess it up, or if the user cannot really understand at first glance what you're trying to do, right? Also something that is also worthy of mention right here is, I understand that maybe because everybody is trying to learn, or we are all learning, right? And when we learn a new thing, we always want to put this up maybe on our report. So we learn a very cool DAX function, or we just stumble on one custom visual that we just feel is beautiful, and you just want to put everything on your canvas and all. So what I always like to say is that being an expert at this thing or being a professional at this thing does not mean that you are using all the tools or all the knowledge or all the skills you've gained on one singular dashboard, right? So think of an artist. The most celebrated artists in the world today, they are not the people that maybe draw the world on one single canvas. These are people that with each stroke, with each line, you can tell that this is some expertise talking right here. So we should learn to manage some of this information, and we should always try to imbibe some of these things when we are creating our report. Something else I also like to say is to use colors effectively, effective use of color. Nobody is going to argue that this dashboard I have right there is actually a very beautiful dashboard and it's very cool to look at, right? But if you're looking at it in terms of insights and in terms of what action is this passing across, you see that the colors are confusing. And what do I mean? So if you look at the very first visual right here, so we have consumer, corporate, and home office. You can see that there's a particular color theme that has been set. So consumer is probably a lemon. Corporate is, I don't know if this is pink or burgundy. I'm sorry, I'm not very great with colors. And then home office is, I want to believe this is an orange, right? Now there has to be some level of consistency across your entire report. Because you've started like this, that has to be the trend that you follow through. Because someone can be looking at this other visual now on the right that is saying maybe furniture, office supply, and technology. And what this person, I'm sorry, let me just use the pen tool so that you can see what I'm talking about. Sorry, the laser. Right, so this is what I'm talking about, right? So someone may be looking at this and they are trying to understand that maybe this is the breakdown of the consumer element of this report, right? And someone that is looking at this is going to say maybe this is the breakdown of home office, right? The same thing if you look at total sales and profit right here. Someone is understanding that maybe this lemon is speaking to this consumer, this total quantity is speaking to home office, and this total discount is speaking to maybe corporate or something. So you can see that although this is a very beautiful dashboard, right, although this is a very beautiful report, but there is no consistency in terms of effective use of colors, and then there's no consistency with the way the colors are laid out and all of that. So we should always try to be mindful of this, right? So not putting 10 colors or 20 colors does not mean that our using a monochromatic color does not mean our report or our dashboard is not going to look great. So we also just have to be mindful and try to manage some of these colors effectively, right? Also, the next thing I want to talk about is data storytelling, right? If we are creating our report, if you're trying to create our dashboard, there's actually a statistic that data isn't data is not as memorable as stories, right? And 5% of people remember statistics, whereas 63% remember the story or remember the particular story that is crafted around that story. So we should always be mindful if we are trying to build our dashboard or we're trying to create our report. Let's try to tell a story. It shouldn't just be we just see a data set, and I see people do this a lot. We just see a data set, we just look at that data, and we just see, oh, okay, what can we aggregate? We just look at the, will I say numerical field and just start aggregating. So you see someone on one single report, they are putting total sales, total discount, total, what's it called? Total units sold, total people who bought on credit, total people who did not pay, total people who said they promised to pay back tomorrow, total this. They just aggregate all the numerical fields, right? And then they just put everything. Like there's no story, there is no consistency, and there is no continuity, right? How do people interact? How do people understand some of the things we're trying to imbibe or implement in our dashboard? Is that there has to be like a common theme, which we lay down our report, and then with which we let these flows. So stories are more persuasive than statistics, and stories persuade us to flow with some of the elements that we're talking about, or it makes for a great maybe user experience, and it makes whoever is consuming our report or whoever is consuming our dashboard to them have like a very a powerful understanding of what we're trying to communicate, really. So the next thing I want to talk about is our background image is great, and please maybe we can comment on the chat and to say that if this is a great visual or not. I love it, so I don't know about you. I want to believe this is like a very beautiful report right here. And I mean, we can understand the point I'm trying to make, right? There has to be a way we manage images, when especially on our report. Images can be very distracting, and they tend to distract the core elements that we want to focus on, or the user is supposed to focus on in their report, right? So we want to be mindful of the way we use images on our report or on our dashboard. I always like, if you are going to use an image, you have to maybe make it as transparent as possible, so that the main element of your visual or of your report is visible and can be easily digested. So this is a pain to read right now, because someone cannot even understand what is going on here. And I picked this from one of the challenge dashboard or challenge report that I see online. So we should always look at some of these things, look at what others are doing wrong, so that we know what are some of the things that we can do right? So that is that. Now, how do we now get inspiration? I know that most times it may not be as easy as you say, that people should maybe come up with concept or come up with their own inspiration online. And sometimes even the best of people, it's difficult to continuously innovate and think through designs every single time. And that is why a very good practice I encourage people to, you can always get inspiration online by just typing dashboard inspiration or Power BI inspiration or Power BI dashboard online. You are going to be faced with a lot of visuals or a lot of people that have created one report or the other that you can try to imitate or you can try to mimic. I mean, starting from here, you're able to see what a great dashboard or a great visual look like, and you can always try to emulate this and inculcate these best practices in our report. I hope I'm still audible. Please let me know.
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. So so I continue. So you can always type dashboard inspiration or maybe Power BI dashboard inspiration and so on and so forth online and get some of these inspiration to work with and all. So let's now get to the business of the day. Is how do we now create some of these custom backgrounds? How do we amplify our report and move from a very maybe Blair report to something that gives the wow effect, right? So I'll stop sharing this screen now, and I'm going to share my next screen where we now tend to do some maybe practicals or do like a deep dive or a demo into some of these things that I'm talking about. So forgive me while I stop sharing for now. So I'm going to be sharing 2 reports right now. So this is what I'm trying to achieve, right? So we have this report. So this is like a report that maybe, I mean, we are familiar with. This is just me dragging the visual, some of the visuals on my canvas, right? And this is how this report is starting out. And we want to take it to somewhere like this. We want to take this report to something like this, where you're able to see it in a more visually aesthetic manner that communicates that communicates. I mean, some of the best practices in a UI dashboard, where you're able to even switch from a light theme background to a dark theme background. You're able to navigate. You're able to interact with the core elements of this report. Also, you're able to even switch from. One second, you're also able to maybe interact with some of the elements and maybe change from maybe map visual to a chart, and then you're able to embed maybe icons to further give some sort of maybe aesthetic appeal to your report. So so I want to please let me know if you are excited to do this, or maybe this is not something fun. Please let me know in the chat. Is this something that we're excited to learn about?
Yes,
so
so
I'll be checking the chat.
I know.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you. So this is where we. Okay, so I hope it's visible now.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
All right. So I was saying that we want to move from maybe a just a report like this to something like this, and sort of like improve the aesthetic appeal of our report, while also putting in mind or leaving in mind the functionality of this report, right? So to do that, I want to start from the background, like I said. So this is the background I used. A lot of people do this on PowerPoint. Some do this on Figma. Some do this on maybe any other tool of choice, right? What is just most important? Is so all of these are maybe shapes that I just added. So I'm going to format this shape now. So some of these shape are just shape that I added, and of course I use the colors that I know will work for me. Of course, there is no other fast way to do this. So all of these are shapes. All of these are shapes. All of these are shapes also. Then also I have icons that I've downloaded online. I'm going to talk about some of these icons later, but I also have all of these are shapes also. So this is a shape that just has a gradient that I added. So I had a gradient and then used the colors that I would love to have on my report, right? And then I added icons. I'm going to show also how to add some of these icons. If you are using Office 365 or maybe any of I think PowerPoint, maybe 2016 or 2019, I'm not so sure if you can do it, but I use Office 365. And if you go to the Insert tab and you go to icons, you can actually add lots of icons from here. So you want icons that talk to about revenue, you can always have this. You want icons that talk about maybe sales, for instance. Okay, so maybe this is not so good. You want icons that talks about maybe orders. Okay, this is not so let me say maybe date or calendar. So you can always have suggestions, right, on how to, and you can add some of these icons to your report as you like. So this is this icon, and one good thing is also that you can also change the feel of the color of the particular icon it is that you are using. So this is one way, but I noticed that this is limited in terms of the options that are available. So I also use another website that is called logomaker.com. So that is logo maker without E. I'm just going to drop that in the chat for the benefits of some of us. Right? So logomaker.com, and how do I use this is to maybe type in what we want. So I want revenue. I'm just going to type revenue, for instance, and I can see icons that talk about revenue that I can use. Maybe I want sales, or I want to talk about orders, and so on and so forth, right? So let's say I want to use something like this, right? And once I select this, now I can now change. I can modify the color of this icon by choosing maybe the color code. So I can use any of the examples here, or I can specify if I have a particular color theme, right? I can also have that. So of course there are many websites that we can use, but I use this website because when you want to save, you are not maybe you don't have to pay for everything. There are so many website that allows you to create your own icons and allows you to download. But I use this because when you're about to save, even though it prompts you to pay a certain fee for you to be able to download your files, but there's actually a very small functionalities here that says download low resolution file. And because you're just using it, it's not like you're trying to create a billboard or something. So the low resolution will work just fine. So you can always download a low resolution size of that image, and then you can save it. And once you save it, it's easy for you to use. So you can create as many and you can download as many as possible. So I'm not going to dwell on that. Maybe I want something to talk about, maybe shipment, for instance. There are tons and tons of options that you want to that you can use from this site. So of course there are other sites that allows us to do this. We can explore as much as we want. So after I create these backgrounds, I create this background, and then so that is why I was able to bring in all of these icons. The next thing is to create the light theme version of this background. All of these things right here are also shapes that I've put here. So I put a background that is maybe a little bit off-white, and then I put a white background. There are other ways that you can do this, right? I'm just going to show you other samples of some of the backgrounds that I've created in my spare time. So this is this, then this is possibly maybe the light, the dark theme of this one. This is another variation. This is another variation. We also have this variation also. I also have this. I have this. Like I said, all of these are maybe shapes that I just put, or maybe add gradients and so on and so forth. So this I've created also. This is still work in progress. And then I have this for the home page or for the main page. So this is a place where maybe I can use an image for a background. I'm sorry if I'm biased with using images in a live report that you're creating in a typical work environment, right? I mean, so this is not to talk about maybe a fun project that we are doing on and all, but if we are trying to create a report within an organization setting, we should be mindful of how, when we are using maybe the backgrounds and all. So but for now, I'm using a background on this home page, and the way I do this is, so I have a picture of a very nice high-rise building that I downloaded online. So I have this picture here, and then in order to make it, to reduce the is it opacity now or transparency, so I put another layer of shape. So this is just a shape that I also added. So let me format shape so that we can see. So this is a shape I also added, and then I put a gradient fill, and I put some colors or the color themes I want, and I set the transparency to maybe about 46%, just so that you can still see the background, but you can see it less, and it's not distracting from the main report. And then I have maybe some of these shapes also here that are filled with one gradient field or the other. Then I put icons to depict maybe different navigation from one page to the other, right? So these are some of the things. Then I have the this one I showed the other time. So this one being the dark theme of this. And of course, this was used to create a report like this, for instance. So now once I'm done, let's say I'm done creating my background, the next thing I want to do is to save. And if I'm trying to save this, so I can come to home, I can say save as. And now if I'm trying to save, there are some format that I always choose. So you can choose maybe PNG, or you can choose JPEG, but a format that I always use is the scalable vector graphics format, that is SVG. So if you save this SVG, is going to you can. So if you save as SVG, you can always use that. So these are some of the SVGs that I've saved, maybe Adventure Works background, and all the like. So once I save this as SVG format, I can then come to my Power BI report. So let me bring that up now. Okay, so while I'm here now, I can come to, while I'm clicking on the background, I can go to the format pane, and I can go to page background and say add image. So if I'm adding my image, I know that my image, maybe this is the Adventure World background that I want to use, and I can say open. So I've added this. Of course, I'm not going to see anything, and that is because my transparency is still set to 100%. So I may want to reduce this to maybe to 0 or to something, yeah, to 0. And then I change this to fit, so that it fits the entire screen. And the next thing I just have to do is to just try to reshape my visual to fit into some of the shapes that I've created. Of course, I'm not going to do all of this now because of time, but I mean, I'm sure we understand the core concept of what we are trying to achieve. So I'm able to do this. Sorry. I'm able to do this, and then I'm able to do this also. 1 second. I'm able to do this also. And also just put this into the space that has been allocated for that. I don't need this for now, so I can put this here. I can put this here. Of course, it's still looking very ugly right now. So this is just me. All of this is really just easy job, right? Easy work. So this is just me aligning the visual. Now the next thing I want to do is to use my themes to now control the color. So instead of going one after the other to try to change all of this to fit a particular theme or this color that I've preset, right? I can go on themes. Of course, we know that with themes you can change our reports, the kind of colors that we want and all. So, but one thing I'm able to do, so let's say I've settled for one. So let's say I've settled for something like this, for instance. So I want to now try to edit my theme, right? Or I want to customize my current theme. So of course you can browse. So let me just quickly talk about it. You can browse for themes on the Microsoft side. You can also have your maybe your own theme gallery if you want to. Okay, sorry about that. So browse for themes. Sorry, is to browse on your own local device. While theme gallery will take you to the Microsoft Power BI community, but I don't want to use any of these two for now. I can just go to customize current theme. So if I go to customize current theme, that is going to open up. 1 second. Let me be sure. Okay, yes, it's coming up. So this is it. So customize current theme. So this is my theme that I have right here, and I can customize all of the colors here to show what I want my primary color to be, what I want my secondary colors to be, and so on and so forth. So I can change all of this, and because I have some colors, some preset colors that I want, which are these colors that I'm looking at right here. So I have the color codes already. I can just copy. 1 second. Where is this again? So this is, yeah, thank you. So I can copy this and say my primary color, I want it to be this. My secondary colors, I just paste it here, for instance. Then I can also change things like maybe how I want my text to look. If I want, how I want the font, the size, the color. So I can use, because I have a particular color code, I'm just going to be pasting some of these things here. I want my title. You can also customize your cards. You can customize the font size and all. And by the time I'm done, you can also customize the visuals if you want any background, or you want borders, headers, and so on and so forth. You can also customize the page background. Because of time, I'll not be doing all of this. Let me just go to the finished report that I've created, and I'm just going to talk you through that. Right? So 1 second. So this is the light theme that I've created. So it's capturing, so I've been able to customize all my colors the way I want them, and also put in my sales last year, my sales growth, the total units, and so on and so forth, right? And I can also, so I have icons here. So the icons that I brought in, so to add icons from, let's say you've saved your icons as an image. How to add it here is to go to the insert tab, to click on image, and then you can add as many icons as possible. I can't find the folder right now, so I'm not going to waste time doing that. And once I just select it, it's just going to bring the icons here, and I can click on the icon now, and let's say I want to give it an action. So I can click on the icon, go to format button, and give it an icon. Let's say this is the calendar, and I want it to show a calendar that I can easily drill through, and then I want it to go back also, right? Also, I have something here that is maybe if you want to change the theme, maybe from a light theme or a dark theme. The way I use this is just to use a combination of icons and bookmarks. So I have this bookmark here, and you can add an action. So I created 2 pages in order to do the light theme and the dark theme. I created 2 pages. I had this icon here that shows lights on, for instance. Then if you click on this, it's going to take me to the other one that I just have another image that shows the lights off. So once you click, because I'm on the desktop right now, I'll be using control, but on the Power BI service, you don't have to use the control key. You can just click on them. So click on this to take you to dark theme, and then click on this to bring it back to light theme. So how do we, I think I've spoken about most of the functionalities here with using the theme. And then also, once you are done with your theme, you can always save your theme to use later. So we can save current theme just so that I can create later. There are some also people that create that write codes to create their own theme, maybe using maybe a JSON script and all that. I don't really have much information about that. So maybe this is what this is talking about. But you can save this current theme if you want to reuse them later. And then you can also have, so I have another icon here that maybe you want to see your sales by country, but you want to see it in a map visual. So this is just me using, so let me show my bookmarks right now. So this is just me putting, using, just being intelligent with bookmarks. So you can use control click maybe here to see it in a visual format, and then you can use control also. You can click on the map to take you to the map visual, and then you can click on the chart to bring you back to the chart visual. I don't know if I still have more time, so I'd like maybe Ifeanyi or Michael to confirm if we have questions now. So maybe we can take questions right now, or if I still have time.
You still have time, you can still go on.
Okay. How many more minutes? So let me just be sure.
Oh, maybe like 10 minutes. How many minutes do you need? Sure. How many minutes do you think you need?
No, I'm almost done actually. Just to round up, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Fine.
Okay. So let's go on.
Okay, thank you. So so here I was talking about, so once I've set my current theme, so here let me go to my customized current theme now and show you some of the settings of of this page. So I have some of these colors already. I have a certain way I want my text, my general text to look like, the title, the cards, the tabs, and so on and so forth, right? Maybe one area I want to dwell on is maybe how I use this navigation. So like I said, I created 2 pages, maybe one for light theme and one for dark theme, and I look for icons that just shows maybe lights on and lights off, and I try to put them at the same place for both these things. So I just come here, I go to I go to bookmarks, right? Sorry, page navigation, I beg your pardon. So on this button right here, or on this shape, if you go to, you click on your to format the shape. So because this is a shape right now, we're going to format shape. So I can add an icon, I can add an action to that icon. Add action to icon. So, and on my action, I'm going to be selecting page navigation, right? So I'll select page navigation, and then I'll point to my page that talks about that shows me the dark theme, which is the revenue 2.0. So if I click on it right now, it's going to bring me here, of course, and I can click on this also, and also select an action, and this action is going to take me back to the other revenue page, which is the revenue 1.0 or something like that. Then I have maybe some bookmarks here that just basically controls the navigation of some of these things. Like, of course, there are different ways that people do this. This is just what I've adopted for this format. Then also, you can also have a main page. So this is the main page I talked about the other time, where you just bring in the same way you brought in other elements. So you just come here to page background, and then you add your did I really talk about this? Yes, I think I did. So you add your page background, you add the background that you have saved in SVG format, you set transparency to 0, and then you change your image fit, maybe from normal to fit. And this comes right here, and then I just put maybe text or something. And then if I want to maybe navigate, use this to navigate maybe from one page or the other, I can do that maybe just using this shape and add an icon, or I can just use a button, maybe put a blank button over some of these things, so that when someone clicks it, it's just going to take them to the page they want. So there are no actions on it right now. This is just for demo purposes only. So I guess with that, I've been able to maybe do some form of justice, and maybe we can take questions now. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you for a wonderful session.
Thank you.
So, are there any questions? Okay, so someone asked, why don't you use page
navigation
instead
yes,
of
I think I think I mentioned that also. I think I mentioned that. So for this one, this is the page navigation for these icons. There are also places where I use like from here, for instance. So someone else might want to use maybe page navigation here. I don't know why, but maybe some people do, but I prefer to use a bookmark here because I'm just able to layer one element or the other, and I can interact with it as I want, and so on and so forth, right? So I guess I don't know if that answers the question.
Yes, I think that answers the question. Does that answer the question? Timidayo? Yes, I think that answers the questions. Are there any other questions?
Because people are muted, I don't know if they can still drop messages.
Yes, they can drop messages. Okay,
so
yes,
they can drop messages. Yes,
that's the question.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So, if there are any questions, you have to drop it in the chat box for the moment. So if in the answer of any questions, so I'll ask you. I have 2 questions to ask. I would like to ask about your data analysis journey. You should just tell us all about it.
Okay.
Yes.
There's also the.
Okay, let's go to another question.
The winning stuff.
Okay, the winning game.
Just
Okay. Yes.
like asking a question that someone will win.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's take this question. We'll take this question, then we'll do the enterprise DNA, the cost giveaway. So the other question right now is just page layout restricts variation in your reports. Like like would they change the size of the charts and everything else?
Okay, so I want to so reading this question, I want to think maybe this is PowerPoint. I don't know if this is PowerPoint or page layout, but I want to believe maybe PowerPoint layout.
Screen.
Right. So one thing I try to do before starting at all is to ensure that the size of my page, both on my PowerPoint slide and on my Power BI dashboard, are exactly the same. So if I have say for instance, I have this. Okay, I'm not sharing my screen right now. If I go to my
Oh,
my
okay. You can
page.
see your screen. If you
No,
see
no,
your
no, no,
screen
no,
view.
no. Don't
Yeah.
worry, don't worry.
Okay.
So I can always I ensure I make sure as I'm starting out that the page both on the PowerPoint and on the Power BI are exactly the same in terms of pixel, just so that I know exactly what it is I'm modeling and how I'm able to transfer that.
Okay. So someone says, is this dashboard mobile friendly?
No, I've not activated this for mobile. Like I said, this is something I've created for demo purposes only, and I've not explored that. But I want to believe so. If I want to push this to mobile, that is something I have to actually take time and actually design the mobile layout for.
Then also again the Power BI teams. Where can they find it? Where can they find the Power BI teams? You can share your screen if you have to share your screen. I will just
Okay, when you say Power BI theme, so it's
team.
different. So let me answer that in two different ways. So there's already there are already inbuilt themes that comes in Power BI. So let me share my screen. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Uh, Let me just quickly share my screen again. So if you go to the View tab and you click, you have on the View tab the drop down. Let me come here. On the View tab under Themes, you have already inbuilt themes from in the Power BI, your Power BI report already. But if you want more themes, you can go to Themes Gallery. I think this takes you to the Microsoft Power BI community where you can download some things. Maybe some you have to pay for, maybe some are free. But what I always do is to create my own what's it called now? You can use this to customize your own theme, create all your colors, and when you create all your colors, maybe you want this for one weird reason to be red, you want this to maybe be black, or you've just create your own colors and then you save. So anytime you want to reuse that theme, so don't let us confuse theme and background, right? So theme are just basically the colors of your visuals, your maybe your visuals, the card, the text, and all. But background is another thing entirely. To create background, you may want to use tools like maybe Figma, maybe PowerPoint. I'm not very good with Figma, so that's why I use PowerPoint. A lot of people are comfortable using Figma. A lot of people are comfortable using other tools that they're comfortable with. So I use PowerPoint. But also for themes, you can also go online. You can also go online to get themes from the themes gallery. I just clicked on this now. Let me see if I have. I can show you maybe where that leads, or we can try it on our own, just so that we see where it leads. So this is where it leads us, and then we can interact with different maybe themes and maybe custom things that people have created, and we can try to download them. We can also use maybe visual studio code or something to also create our own theme. But I mean, of course, maybe that's for people like Michael and other orgas like that. I've not gotten to that level, and I'm not going to say I've gotten there. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, so does that answer the question? Then another question is will the bookmark affect the interface of the UI in a positive or negative way? in a positive or negative way. I can't really
Can
say. We
let me see
bookmark
that.
for we bookmark affect the interface of the UI in a positive or negative way.
So like I said, you want to create different levels of interaction. So let me try to understand, maybe create a scenario of what this person is talking about. So let's say for one, right, I always like to manage space on my reports. So this is me being biased. I don't like maybe changing the standard, what's it called, maybe the page size of a typical PowerPoint report. So I don't use overly big size. I know some people are comfortable with this and their pros are doing it, but I always like to do that. And for me, in order to stick with this, there are some things you have to sacrifice, which means that you cannot put a lot of things. For instance, what I have currently, maybe there is no space for me to put maybe a date and so on and so forth. There are some people also that are not so, that doesn't really like this much, where maybe they feel like maybe this also creates it's not very good when you're talking of maybe user experience, how someone has to click on this, select the visuals they want, and maybe try to do this before now coming back here. Maybe they feel like it's not so friendly, but to a large extent, because you want to manage space also, and you want to make it as maybe clean as possible, so you can also use bookmarks. So I want to believe it affects your report in a positive way. And of course, your icons, like I said, can either be used as maybe a bookmark or page navigation. For instance, if you have several pages in your report, maybe having some of these icons here, you can actually use them for page navigation, where someone just have to click on them to take you to another page. So I'm not so sure if I answered that question, but I hope I was able to do justice to that.
So
Someone
another-
said, can
can
you
you
use
create?
Adobe Photoshop and
No,
Figma
no,
too?
no. The question was
Oh, okay,
can you
okay.
create the UI
Oh,
for
okay. Okay.
with Power BI or mostly work on PowerPoint? So it's like you can also
All
use
right. All right.
Figma and Adobe Photoshop.
All right.
Okay, are there any other questions?
So I'll stop sharing my screen.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, I would like to ask you two questions. We usually ask we ask all our guest speakers. So the first question is, I want to just know a bit about your data analytic journey, and the second question will be, what advice we give to those starting out?
Okay. Thank you. I mean, for my data analytics journey, I mean,
Yeah.
is something that is, will I say, very interesting. First off, I studied agricultural engineering. I went to I graduated from a polytechnic and I studied agricultural engineering. And right from my service here, I mean, there's this thing they drum in our ears that there are no jobs out there and all. And so I already learned a skill, will I say a skill that I feel will be useful in the market. So I learned aluminum construction and how to do all of that, thinking that maybe that was in NYSC, thinking that maybe once I finish, that's what I have to do like full time and all. But as time we have it, when I finished, I maybe got a job at a small startup. And even though that job was not a core data analytics job, it was a small startup and I was doing practically everything. I was the maybe operations executive. I was the one that does reporting. I was the one that does everything, because it was from a fashion e-commerce company, and we were selling on third-party website like maybe Jimmy and Konga. So I have to be the one managing all the inventory, managing reconciliation. And at some point, I just discovered that I really can't do this without maybe learning a tool that allows me to do that. So I started with Excel, and I always say this, that Excel really helped my life a lot, because for the very first 3 years of my career, I only knew Excel, and that was what I used to do some of the fantastic things that that I was able to do then, right? And then so when the time came for me to look for another job, I just packaged my CV towards the data analytics that I know is going to give me an edge. So I just had to spotlight those things in my CV. And some of the things I did then, because I was lacking in knowledge and I didn't have a lot of money to take courses. and all. So I just attended lots of events. I was reading online. There was even a time I went to Nigeria Excel users. We used to have, or they used to have like those yearly conferences. And I think I went to one. I'm not sure if it's 2017 now or 2018. And I think it was David Brown that was talking then about the analyst journey, right? And that sort of like was an inspiring moment for me, because I was able to see what a journey of a data analyst really looked like. Because at that time I was very big on Excel, I was able to see that, okay, maybe this is the path and this is the trajectory that someone can follow. So I went back home at that time, and I really just got busy trying to better myself. I think at that time also, I met Michael at that event, interestingly, but I didn't talk to him, because then I go to some of these events and I'm the shy person that really don't walk up to people to say maybe you want to learn. I just felt like, this bro, if you go meet him now, he's very expensive. Maybe he will tell you to bring 1 million or something to learn. So I just took the hard way to learn data analytics, really. So the advice I would give to people starting out is that they should start from wherever it is that they are. I see a lot of people, they want to get a data analytics job, or they want to become a data analyst so bad, but they're in a current role where the current role they are not data analysts in the role. So they just feel like maybe getting a job as a data analyst is going to help them. And I always advise that start from where you are, right? Start from there is data in your company that you are right now. Start with that data. Try to analyze that data. Do a lot of transformation. Walk up to your manager. Walk up to your bosses. Let them see the value in their data. And from there, those are some of the things that can help you when you're trying to get a job, because of course you need a lot of projects and you need real life projects. And I always tell people, the projects you come in contact with, maybe when you are maybe taking a course online or watching a video online or trying to maybe join a challenge, those problems are somewhat different from a practical scenario in an organization where your data is just messy. There's no there's no sense to it at all. And so just starting from there, getting your hands dirty on those things really helped a lot, because that was what helped me. At that time, I didn't have lots of knowledge, but I saw a problem in front of me and I was just solving it. I didn't even know I was doing anything at that point. I just discovered that our inventory is not balancing. People are ordering things we don't have. And I just go in there, create an Excel, maybe dashboard that basically tracks inventory as they are moving, what we have in stock, what we have out of stock. Then I think at a point we're having reconciliation issues with some of the third-party sites that we are selling on. And I just really picked up an Excel sheet again, tried to do all of that. So I was doing project-based learning, which is also something I always advise. It's not enough to jump on all the courses you are seeing on LinkedIn or out there, or jump on all the videos trying to learn. I know someone that told me they've been trying to learn data analytics for 2 years, and that's because they keep on watching those videos. They keep on doing it, watching those videos, taking those courses, but they are not improving because they are not getting their hands on real world problems for them to solve. So I always believe in project-based learning. The more you try to build a project, the more you learn the skills on that project, and it really gives you that confidence. So when you go for an interview, you are talking from a project perspective or from an experience, even though you don't have practical experience. You're talking about a project that you have built, you're something that you have done, and you are a master at that point, because nobody's going to tell you that your project is right or wrong. You built it, so you are the authority and you are the boss on something like. So that was what gave me an edge starting out, and I believe that if people incorporate these habits into their learning, that's project-based learning, and just practically starting from where they are right now, I feel like it's going to go a long way in helping a lot of maybe young analysts or data analyst enthusiasts that are out there. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes, that answers the question. So thank you so much. Then Also, again, since the Power BI learning community is being sponsored by Enterprise DNA, so our guest speaker usually asks a question to the audience, and whoever answers the question gets to win a free course, a free membership for it in Enterprise DNA.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So you can ask any question. It could be something on the topic, something you mentioned, just something you mentioned in the session.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So okay, so maybe so maybe the question would be, who can mention maybe some of the maybe 2 or 3 best
Wait,
practice that I mentioned.
okay,
Can
so
you hear me?
yes, we can hear you. So everybody
Okay.
you have to type your answers in the chat box.
All right.
The person that you think that gets the question, you just give
Okay.
a thumbs up emoji
All right.
on the question.
So, okay, that's fine. So I asked, I mentioned about 6 or 7 best practices, maybe on your dashboard. So maybe someone that can mention 3. So maybe I think that is fair enough. So just 3 out of like I think I mentioned about 8 or 9. So anyone that can mention 3 of some of these best practices, I think that works. So I can see, I've already seen David's answer. I've seen Raphael. So I don't know, others can also drop their answers. I don't know if we are
So
shy.
he said 3, not 2, or 3.
Yeah, 3. So I'm seeing 2. I've not seen one that captures the 3. But I think the first person I'm seeing right here is LM. I don't know who this person is. I think LM tried to give three answers. So which is reduce reports complexity through maybe 2 tips, use color effectively, background images, and all. So I think LM tried to answer
That's 2.
the 3.
Yeah, it's the 2.
So are we
I'm seeing
announcing?
another answer here from Richard Ozuala, but
Nobody has given 3 yet. Everybody have given 2 or 1.
So I see you've liked one of the answer. Is that the winner? LM. Is LM our winner then? I think he gave the first answer, complete answer, right?
Yes. I think
LM.
LM gave the first complete answer.
Okay.
Yes.
LM. So you should type your name in the chat box. Then also you can send your name to this email address. The webinar at UrBizEdge, just for me. But also type your name in the chat box so that I can note the name. LM. Okay. Yes, you should do that. Thank you for today's session, and it was a really beautiful and insightful session. Thank you so much. So,
Thank you very much.
so
Thank
next week next week's session is going to be on Microsoft Power Platform. So it's going to give us an introduction to Microsoft Power Platform and how you can get started. So that will going to be our session for next week, the same time and the same link as always.
And I just want to once again thank Fatai for the amazing session share, and also how well too you helped still align with the value and all despite the interruption we had. So we thank you for your understanding, and to everybody, thank you. If anybody has experience on the right way, we should, because right now it's looking like we have to be making everybody attendee, and it reduces the interactivity. we are open to whatsoever suggestions people have. I'm sure some other people have more experience on how to run these platforms and not have those kind of. We'll be happy. You can also maybe mail us at webinar with your ideas or should we what settings work. I'll also search anyway. But thank you to everyone and apologies for. I hope nobody was not at somewhere where they were like, hey, what are you doing there? Like maybe you're at work and then there some people behind you are like, what are you showing on your screen? We apologize for any embarrassment that has caused. It's unfortunate, but we learn all every time, and I'm sure with what we've seen today, I'm putting whatsoever settings at the back end that will not make that happen. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to our speaker once again. Thank you to everyone that participated. Federico, Malga David, there are two Davids in the session. Ahmed, everybody that I know their names and those who have left. Hey, Ogajaidu, and everyone that has stayed to the end and those who joined. Some people joined like 30 minutes before. I think I met Anna. Thank you for joining, and she's still around to the end. We appreciate your consistency. It's motivating for us, and we always want people to. I don't know if they've shared the feedback form. Please let us know which speakers we should bring. We are
Yes.
always for more speakers.
I've sent you favors.
Great. And if you have topics that you would like us to, again, focus on, do again, or bring someone on, we will always be glad to consider your suggestions. Maragasa, we are very grateful. In fact,
Thank you.
I'm going to go and fill in the feedback form that we should bring you back.
Thank you very much.
Everything about it. Thanks, we're grateful.
Thank you.
Bye-bye to everyone.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody, and thank you.
Thank you.